I'm Brent Leary.
Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz.
Although lately we might have been the CRM Play, bringing the ers.
I just wanted to say it differently because I'm, kind of getting tired of saying the same thing over and over the same way. So I thought I'd just do a little different. But regardless of how different I try to say it, we've been doing this and bringing that
Since then.
Imagine that. I like that. That might be the new way.
That's the best way. Yeah, we've been doing this
and bringing that
since then. Imagine that.
And imagine something else. Imagine Sven is here.
Oh, yay.
With the moment of Sven.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what that is.
Ooh.
Tina
I'm going to say Hawaiian or Polynesian of some kind.
I was going to say, is Alaskan a language?
Well, it could be. It would be Inuit. The actual language would be Inuit.
Well, I'm into it, so yeah, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Mr. Fagel.
Yeah, we missed him.
Mr. Fagel is like, coming out the woodwork now because the Patriots seem to be like good again. So
yeah, well, that's good for us as we can start asking the question. It's actually worth asking the question again. The problem is, honestly, I don't hate them as much.
No, it's not the same.
No, without Belichick and Brady, what's the point?
Yeah, it's kind really not the
bland.
same.
They're a good team now, and they're kind of bland otherwise, though. It's like, Vrabel, he's a great coach. There's no question about it.
Yeah, he definitely knows how to coach.
Yes, he does. Better than Belichick as it's turning out.
All right, Sven, we're waiting for the actual answer to
I'm
today's.
Go with Hawaiian or Polynesian or something, but I don't know this one. This one's, I'm guessing if it's like, yeah, I'll stick with that. But
just go with Hawaiian. It looks like it could be that.
Yeah, I'll go with it, but it's still bothering me. I don't think I'm right, but
Well, you may be right. I may be crazy.
The second I said that, I knew you were going to go there. Like the second I said I may be right. I mean, I don't think I'm right. I knew you would say that. I just knew it.
Into it.
Maori. Okay, it's African. Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
It's a major African.
That was a good one. Language. I had no idea.
Bob's right. New Zealand. He's right. He's right.
New Zealander.
New Zealand, yeah. Maori. Well, wait a minute. I think maybe they're only entirely in New Zealand. Now I have to look it up.
Could like both of y'all be right?
No, I mean Bob's probably more right than me, but I want to make sure that I don't know why I said Africa though, but because I have a feeling I visited a Maori.
You know what? That sounded like
no, guess what though?
Let's
Oh God, I'm great, man. Maori is an Eastern Polynesian language. And what did I say? Hawaiian or what? Polynesian.
Polynesian?
That's exactly.
So do you consider yourself, because you kind of led with Hawaiian at the end though, but
no, I said I didn't know. I live with I don't know. Right? Well, hold on now. So it is New Zealand though. He's right.
He is New Zealand.
But I'm going to take at least partial credit because I was either Hawaiian or Polynesian, and the fact that I even got that right was amazing. I even amazed myself on that one because I had no idea. I'm just guessing by the shape of language.
The shape of language.
Yeah, the language has shape to me. That's why I can.
What shape is language?
Well, it depends on the language. It's kind of round.
All right, what's the shape of Maori?
Roundish. Roundish. It is. It's roundish. I mean, well, you see it. Look
like an oval, or
look at it. There's a lot of vowels in it.
Okay. Oh, look, he's got. First of all, this is news to me. Bob has friends. Then he says, "I have friends there, and they said this to me."
So they said, is it pronounced Tena or Tina? Like Tena Kutu I Hoa Ma. Tena Kutu I Hoa Ma.
Let's ask Yo-Yo Ma. He must know.
I doubt it.
All right. That was a good one. That made you think some.
Yeah, it did. And I'm sort of half pleased with myself that I got at least somewhat right. I didn't think I had a prayer on that one. My instincts are still good on language.
You like Madonna, so you had a prayer. Yeah.
Wow, it's gonna be one of those shows. I'm literally gonna have to avoid anything that resembles a song lyric.
It really is going to be one of those shows,
Yeah,
apparently.
I literally have to stay away from song lyric. Anything even resembling a song lyric today.
Yeah, it is what it is. I don't
There's
know what
probably a song there somewhere too.
that. I think I gotta get one more clip. Do I have? I got a couple of clips lined up. I think I got them all. Yeah, I think so.
I'm
Anyway,
no,
what are you
go
gonna
ahead.
say?
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say anyway. Yeah, This is the third Thursday, and you all know what that means, right? Could you tell us? 'Cause no.
I can tell you.
Okay, tell us.
Well, does anyone else know? Anyone out there know what third Thursday of every month means?
It means it's difficult to stump you, Paul. That's what's.
Well, that's every day.
That's
I can be stumped very easily when it comes to Stump the Godfather. So I'm sure I'll be stumped today, presuming that there is one.
all right.
Well, if you don't know, this is lifting the lid.
Oh, very
This
nice.
is- I thought so.
That was very nice.
Dr. Michael Wu is going to be on the show. And let's put it this way. We kind of gave him some leeway to talk about whatever he wants to. And he came up with, what did you guess, about 12 subjects in the space of about 10 minutes, of which one in particular really interested me, partly because I happen to use the product that's at least in part that.
Okay. We'll leave
Now I'm
you
getting
to
scared.
think, we'll leave you to think about that until we bring him on. But that's
Yeah.
a kind of a nice little teaser, I guess.
Well, I guess 8 of the 12 interested me. One or two of them I didn't care about, but the other ones, most of them were really interesting areas. And Mike, Michael, man, he's amazing.
Michael who?
Oh, wow. I'm not going to go there.
All righty, folks. All right. So that'll be coming up a little later. And and we actually do, although it just hit me because I believe next Thursday is going to be Thanksgiving, right?
Yes, sir.
So that means we will not be doing a show unless you want to see us eating, because that's pretty much all I'm going to be doing, that and watching football. So
yeah,
me
too. Although we're probably going to go out to Yvonne and I normally go to our nephew's house for Thanksgiving, but this year he's going somewhere, and so we're not. So we're pretty much doing whatever. So we may just go out and eat somewhere. We don't want to cook. That we definitely don't want to do. Well, she doesn't want to, and I don't want her to either, because I wouldn't cook. Yeah, my only cooking these days. I make ice cream.
Yeah, I just like grab stuff ahead of time and then have it ready to go. I might do one of these, like order one of them fried turkeys. And it might be too late. I don't know, because
no, probably not. You got nearly a full week, and all they need is the order to go probably by let's see, it's Thursday, probably by Tuesday, I would imagine, because they have to cook them. They can't cook them very far in advance.
I guess that's true. Anyway, I'm thinking about it. I've never ordered a fried turkey before.
I think my stomach would not take that one. I've seen people blow up their houses with fried turkey.
Yeah, I'm not cooking one. That's for. Yeah, I mean, they literally look like they're blown out there, and you're supposed to like do it outside, and people always do it in the garage for some reason.
I'm guessing my next door neighbor George, who is an amazing grill guy and smoker, and he's got a smoker, he's going to do it, and he lives next door. So
you should ask him if you could get a little taste, just to see.
Oh, he'll give me a taste if I ask him. He always does. He offers it every year, but usually we say no, thank you. But he's awesome. George and Danica, they're fantastic. We have fantastic neighbors.
All right, so there was a lot of stuff going on this week, like conferences. Oh, let me just. Yeah, I'm not going to be doing that either, Bob.
Yeah, no bread.
Yes, or peanut butter or jelly.
Too much work.
No, I like bread on a turkey sandwich.
Yeah, baguette. I would prefer like baguette or like
a roll.
Yeah, a roll or a baguette or something like that with a turkey sandwich. rather than just
Yeah.
a piece of
Matter of
bread.
fact, I literally just had a roll in a turkey sandwich with provolone cheese for lunch.
That
Very
sounds like
tasty.
it's from.
Very tasty.
Where'd you get it?
Well, I get the fresh lunch meat from the Publix deli, and they usually have the fresh rolls out there.
Yep.
Because you got to have everything fresh. You just
Oh God, yeah.
can't do it any other way.
We don't even have a Publix here.
I've got 3 within a 5-mile radius of me.
Yeah, I know they're like. I think they're a national chain. It's just we don't have them at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have the usual ones, like Giant. We have a Giant. And,
That's where I get my soup from. I go out like every day to see what the soups are.
yeah, that's a Giant or Publix.
No, they're all Publix.
Wow.
And if I don't see the soup I want at one Publix, I'll go to the other one.
And you said there's 3 within 5 miles?
5 to 7 miles.
That's not fantastic planning unless those are really distinct 3 different neighborhoods.
They are.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. That would be okay.
And I like going to the newer one first because, just.
Yeah, Yvonne and I are old, so we're lazy. So we do Amazon Fresh or Whole Foods.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it works. It's expensive. That's the one thing wrong with it. But boy, does it save a lot of time. Holy crap. I mean,
All right. So lots of stuff going on this week. There were virtual analyst summits. I attended one today for ServiceNow.
They don't invite me anymore.
I attended one. Well, you're retired from that.
Well, yeah, but everybody else still invites me. It's just they don't.
Oh, well, you need to take it up with Jeff McDonald or somebody.
Man. Well, you know what? To make it up, so I hope ServiceNow sponsors IRL 25. I'll make it up.
Oh, okay. So it was that one. Sugar had a virtual thing earlier this year, or this week. Zoho had a thing. Matter of fact, Zoho announced enhancements, like a boatload of enhancements to Zoho 1.
Yep.
Including really making their AI assistant Ask Zia. Now it's like universal. You can ask questions about any of the data from any of the the applications, because now it's like a one platform, and you can ask not only about your data, but you can ask how to best use a function in one of the apps. And I had a chance to speak to Taylor Beckman, who is their senior evangelist. I think he's senior because the chief is evangelist is Raju, right. And I think Taylor is a senior evangelist. They got like evangelist like layers or levels,
subcategories.
Yeah, exactly. So I had this conversation because they did announce a lot of stuff. And so I had like a few good minutes, which turned to like a little bit more than a few good minutes because he had trying to figure out all the stuff and have him talk about it. But one thing he said really stood out to me when we were talking about Ask Zia, their AI assistant, and kind of what you can do, but also where Ask Zia is positioned on the screen. And that's what caught my attention. So I'm going to play this clip of that conversation, and then I think you're going to know why it caught my attention.
Thing to be able to have the LLM that can, be that mode of communicating between computers and people. It's another thing to then go and find the data. It's a third thing to do cross-functional reporting. It's a fourth thing to then respect all of the permission structures that keep that data secure. So that's all being tied up. The second aspect of Ask Zia, though, is it's trained on the entire Zoho knowledge base as well. So aside from asking questions about the data, you can ask questions about the tools and how to use the tools better as well. And that forms a really nice 1-2 punch. Crucially, though, Ask Zia, it's a button that's right next to a button to contact support. We're investing heavily in support at Zoho and in the United States as well. We do not feel that AI is a replacement for human to human support experiences. We want to provide a tool that can hopefully answer a question quickly, but we want to continue to invest heavily in our support people because they're awesome. And frankly, they can do things that computers can't do and seem actually quite bad at.
There it is. That was the money line for me.
Yep.
While they're investing heavily in AI and ASCIA and making it basically able to ask any kind of question, whether it's about your data or about how to use any of the platform applications as part of the Zoho One platform, they are still heavily investing in human customer support and support experiences. And I love what he said about, because our people can do, things that the AI stuff can't. And he said, and our customer support people are awesome. I literally said, during the course of the conversation, I was like, I know everybody is focused on the what you're doing with the integrations and user experience, the UX, and with some of the intelligence stuff. But I love what you said about how you're positioning the AI, but also doubling down on human support, and why people sometimes just want to talk to another person, and you want to be able to say thank you to your customers whenever you have an opportunity to say thank you. I just thought that was really great. And you hear so much about how this AI stuff, we can get rid of X amount of people and get stuff done. But that's one of the things that really stood out to me. And Zoho, it's not something new from Zoho. It's just another reinforcement of that, the way that they view things. And that's why I wanted to point that out. What do you think?
Oh, well, obviously, I'm 100% with you on that. I mean, look, Zohos's ethos is different than any other company's, period. And it's much more, it's always been one pretty much human-centered. And anything else is an aid to things humans do. And that's the way they work. And that's why they have so much to their immense credit. And a lot of this goes back to Sridhar founding the company, too. They have an immense faith in humanity, I guess is the best way to put it. And they do everything they can to nurture that, not just their own faith, but to nurture humanity, meaning try to solve some of the more pressing problems as best they can, try to, improve the lot of individuals, be it within business or outside of business per se. I mean, they're different than anyone else. And to his other point, he's right. The AI is bad at a lot of things. I mean, the interesting thing is that, on that level, I've looked at, because I use a lot. I've looked at like Zoom AI assistant, or, the individual AIs that are designed to support different things. Aura Ring has an AI assistant. And the difference in quality between them is astounding. I mean, for example, the Aura Ring AI, for its purpose, or the ring itself has a lot of issues, but the actual AI assistant, because it's focused in on a very specific area around health and taking the data that it gets from you with the ring and then applying it to its thinking, it's a really good AI. On the other hand, the Zoom AI is literally was created by an idiot reproducing himself. I mean, it's just like horrible. It's genuinely horrible. It can't even answer a simple question related to Zoom, like where do I find this on an app? Things like that. So I mean, they all vary, and I wonder about those things a lot. But to what's it, Taylor? To Taylor's point, there's things that these AIs are just bad at. And as again, even take it like the bigger AI, the big LLMs, the Anthropics and the Perplexities and those. I mean, there's certain things they do amazingly well, and then there's other things they do amazingly badly. And it's the same AI, but it just how it handles. Like I know Claude's being pushed forward as big for coding now. I mean, it's apparently very good at coding. But that tells you something. There's a distinction between it and other AIs where, but ultimately, humans are making decisions based on the information they're getting from all of this. And I will bet you, as good as Claude may be at coding, he's got some human being quality checking the code, because if not, there's a lot of liability at stake, right? So if you're using it for something substantial. So Taylor is on the money, 1,000%. But again, the sad part of that is that they're the company that really has that faith and trust in humanity. A lot of the other companies don't have the same. And you know, I'm not faulting them for it. I guess I am really. But they don't view it the way he does. You know, now there are other companies that we know, like even now, I guess somewhat surprisingly, but not so much anymore, Oracle and companies who actually do believe that. You know, also they believe similarly, not identically.
Yeah.
But you know, the bulk of them, no.
I think he's Taylor is speaking not only on behalf of himself, but definitely on behalf of the company too, because I think that's the whole ethos of that company fits exactly with what he was talking about. So that was earlier this week. We also let's see. I think I have something too. Yeah. So
I see Scott Wilder's here.
Microsoft. Yeah, let's shout out to Scott. He's going to be on a few good minutes at some point, maybe in December, hopefully. Has anyone done any analysis on the impact on support? I bet somebody has, because it would make sense, because this stuff is really supposed to be a win-win, not only for customers, but also for employees. So I'm guessing if anybody knows of any good research, let us know. So Microsoft Ignite was also going on.
Yep.
And there's some news coming out of that. I got a clip from our buddy from Satya. Let's hear what he's talking about.
Today, I'm
not as excited as Tyler is, apparently.
Yeah,
they really got a bug with this thing. All right, let's see if he's still excited.
Today, I'm excited to share that we are taking another step. We're increasingly going to be customers of each other. We will use Anthropic models. They will use our infrastructure, and we'll go to market together to help our customers realize the value of AI. This announcement encompasses 4 key things. First, customers of Microsoft Foundry will be able to access Anthropic's Claude models. Second, we are continuing access for Claude across our Copilot family. Third, Anthropic is committing to Azure capacity. And finally, NVIDIA and Anthropic are also establishing a partnership to support Anthropic's future growth. For us, this is all about deepening our commitment to bringing the best infrastructure, model choice, and applications to our customers. And of course, this all builds on the partnership we have with OpenAI, which remains a critical partner for Microsoft and OpenAI and our customers, and provides more innovation and choice.
What do you think of all that?
Well, look, I mean, what can I say? First of all, you're looking at 3 companies that are kind of dominating type. I'm saying Anthropic is one of the dominant companies in AI. Microsoft's Microsoft, and NVIDIA's NVIDIA at this point. Talking about 3 companies that are highly important to the future of business and how it progresses. The thing that generally runs through my head here, and this one I've always found. You remember in the early days of CRM, everybody had their own, the big fight. Remember, best of breed versus, single source and blah, blah, blah. And then everybody agreed, okay, whether we want to fight that one or not, people have investments in other things, so we better figure out how to talk to it and better think of how to work to it. And CRM advanced substantially at the point where all the CRM systems effectively could integrate with each other one way or the other, and the thing is that this is the same evolution going on right now, except the stakes are a lot higher, actually, because it's really the stake of the future of things that go even beyond business potentially. And so, and all the issues and the strengths that get raised accordingly. But the evolution of the ecosystem, in this case, the technological backbone, the ecosystem, is critical, and Microsoft's one of the leaders in it, and companies that are smart about it. NVIDIA obviously just does what it wants at this point, but it's been very smart about partnerships. Anthropic is moving fast, I think, to probably usurp OpenAI, who's also moving fast and probably, frankly, overdoing it in their case. I think they're committing to things they're not going to be able to meet. And Microsoft continues to be smart always has been, about partners and ecosystems. So I think those three. And the other thing was, of course, interesting that Microsoft is accepting limitations of Copilot by doing that, right? And that's actually a big deal because Copilot is very limited, and Claude is not, right, or it's a lot less limited. I'll say it has me and Claude have a contentious relationship, but we love each other nonetheless.
But I think just kind of, we don't want to keep our buddy waiting, but I think the amount of money that's going back and forth between just a handful of companies is really interesting. And I think what was really interesting about this whole week, it was pretty dicey when you look at what was going on with the markets and all the kind of the talk about, have we reached the bubble with the AI stuff, or because it was a down week for most of the companies. And then something happened last night that is kind of, well, I guess it was last night, late afternoon or whatever.
Yeah.
There's like only one company that I've seen that has this effect on the entire market right now, and that is NVIDIA.
Yep.
So everybody, literally, I mean, we were doing our happy hour thing, and usually I'm the one that's kind of keeping an eye on what happens after hours. But the very first thing that was said was, "All right, what are we doing?"
NVIDIA watch party.
Yeah, is this because it just, everything seems to hang on because AI is involved with everything. So when it came out last night, and it was from everything I've read, and I admit I am a stockholder, so I read a lot about it. It was unqualified blowout. Like everything across the board was like great. So I have I have a quote here, and I want to see if you know who it's from. I'll just put it out there. Now, currently, NVIDIA's market cap valuation is right around 4.5 trillion. And with everybody talking about this AI bubble, most people are like, has this gotten to the top? Is it all downhill from here? And I actually heard this quote with my own ears in real time. It was, there will be a day when NVIDIA will not just be a $5 trillion company, but a $15 trillion. I think the current valuation of the S&P 500 is around 22 trillion on its own, something like that. 15 trillion on its own. Do you want to hazard a guess as to who said that?
Don't have a clue.
I think, did we hear his name earlier? No, we didn't hear his name, but we did hear his company.
Yeah.
And I asked, I actually, so during the today's analyst summit event, I actually I put a question there. I hardly ever do that because I just sit back and listen. But given the relationship that ServiceNow and NVIDIA have, I asked the question. I basically said, so does this, what happened with their earnings, NVIDIA's earnings, does that change this whole bubble conversation, or does it just push it back further so that eventually we're gonna do something? It's gonna happen. So this is one of the parts of his responses. There's gonna be a day where NVIDIA on its own 15 trillion. I mean, how do you see that?
I don't know. Look, I don't pretend to be a financial expert at all. I am very old school though on a lot of things, which means when I hear these market capitalization numbers, and I don't tend to believe them. I think it's a lot. And when I see what I'm actually seeing with a lot of these partnerships going into the similar kind of mode where you give us 100 billion, we'll give you 150 billion, and it's like, sending money back and forth for what exactly? I mean, I get that there's something attached to it, but it's not. For me, there needs to be something produced behind it, and I'm not sure what that is that justifies the level of valuations I'm seeing. So I'm uneasy about all of it. Do I think it's a massive bubble? I think it's a bubble. I think the financial side of it would break. I don't think the AI side of it not. It's not. No, AI has changed the way the world is going to do things, and it's not like an unspeculated future. It's been there, but you get the point. I'm queasy about it, but I'm not a financial expert either. I didn't just all this the movement of money with nothing to show really for it. I mean, nothing to show being done for it. It's just people making all these commitments, like OpenAI committing $1 trillion, which they are nowhere near being able to meet that commitment yet, or maybe ever. So
the concentration of money is
well,
kind of unreal.
But again, the concentration of speculative money is it's dangerous and real.
Well, we saw like with the S&P when we were talking a little bit last week, and that somebody put out that chart about the growth of the S&P and open opportunities, job opportunities, and how they had been going in lockstep, and then they diverged with the AI stuff. And then, you look at the makeup of the S&P 500 from 2000 to 2025, like the top, I think it was the top 2 or 3 tech companies made up the top 10 of the S&P back in 2020. Now it's 8 of the top 10 companies on the S&P 500. Not only just tech companies, but they're really specifically around AI infrastructure, which means the top maybe 20 people that are in this S&P 500, they're the ones kind of driving everything. So it's like there's this ridiculous concentration of just a couple of folks that are really in front of the biggest part of the S&P, like the vastly biggest part of the economy when you look at it. I think it's fascinating, but I also think since it's not even the technology sector, it's really a category of the technology sector, which is this AI infrastructure, when everything is so deeply concentrated in one subcategory of an industry. What does happen if there's a bit of a falter in
that's the point. And to your point, the other thing I think people tend to forget is there's the bulk of the rest of the world too, right? And there's a lot of people, like we're probably talking about one billionth, well, maybe not that, but one tiny fraction of the world here, right? And the rest of the world in sheer volume alone impacts all of this, regardless of how well this little thing is doing. And we can't ignore that. I mean, it's like there's other businesses besides AI in the world that, they're being impacted by AI, but they still are driving things, like the people who manufacture the chips, although NVIDIA does its own, but they have manufacturing plants, right? I mean, you get the point. The chain, the chain of the business chain of life here, and all of these things, and it could falter anywhere in the supply chain. To Steve LeMay's point yesterday, it could falter in the back end in the supply chain and pop everything in the space of a couple of hours. Well, it won't be a couple of hours, but in a short time. I'm just saying that we're tending to forget the rest of the world when it comes to AI, and AI is impacting the whole world, but it is not the world, right? And that's another issue to me. And again, not an economist, I don't know, but I'm practical on a certain level, and I know how forces impact other things, and I know how vectors work, and 1 million decisions lead to a single result potentially, in any given day.
Yep.
And there's a lot more decisions being made beyond those from those companies.
Yeah, and we completely ran out of time for. I know this is going to break you up. Completely ran out of time for Stump the Godfather.
Oh,
So I'll just give you the. So this is speaking once again on the concentration of like wealth. This is at the consumer level. The top 10% of income households own what percentage of stocks? Well, 87%.
Jesus Christ.
So
Is that
with
publicly held company stocks or
S&P 500, I mean, this
Okay.
this is all public stuff.
okay?
The numbers would be even worse if we were talking about
I
companies
know.
that haven't even gone public yet.
97%, probably.
Us,
87.
the masses don't get a sniff of that opportunity. So,
You know
all
what?
right.
I
So
guess
we
Marx was right in his analysis. I'll say that.
Groucho.
No.
Oh, okay. By the way, thanks, Bob, for letting us know because I had not heard that Verizon is laying off 15,000 people.
I saw that.
And it's kind of ironic since we had the new job market numbers come out, and they were actually like double what people were expecting. They were expecting 50,000 or something, and it came in
19.
Yeah, and that was for the September jobs.
But they did say unemployment still went up.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. All right, so we did a lot of talking around the AI stuff, but now we actually have an expert joining us.
Someone who knows what they're saying.
Yeah, so we will work on a real intro for him. Maybe we'll have that for beginning of the year. Because it feels a little weak.
I know we'll have Chanel. You know, we can have Chanel do like a segment intro thing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our first ever. We don't even have a segment. We don't even have an
No,
intro
that's
for
not our first ever.
Segment intro.
Stump the Godfather is a segment.
That's not a that's
a segment.
True. Yeah, I guess so.
Even though you don't like it, it is a segment.
Sadly.
So now you just have to make do. Unfortunately, Michael, you're just gonna have to make do with us saying back for his usual third Thursday. It is the third Thursday, right?
Yes.
Sometimes it feels like third. All right, back for the third Thursday with his taking the lid off AI segment.
Lifting the lid. You even named it.
I thought it lifting.
You named it lifting the lid.
I was taking the lid off.
No, you named it lifting the lid.
That doesn't sound
your
good.
Name.
Lifting the lid is too much lift.
That was your name.
I thought it was taking the lid off.
No. Why?
All right, we'll figure it out.
Lifting the lid's better.
Lifting.
I mean, tip of the hat.
Michael will.
Hey, Michael. How you doing?
Hi, everyone.
We're gonna have to work on it. We're gonna give you a real segment intro.
We're gonna talk to our designer to get you something that would be cool for you.
So we did talk a lot about all the kind of developments of all these companies getting together, and it's all for AI. Before we go to the thing that you really want to talk about, did you want to like weigh in on any of the things that we were talking about and what you heard with the Microsoft, Anthropic, NVIDIA stuff and all that?
Sure. I think that, ultimately, I think the valuation, in any investment is probably speculatively, because it's a speculative kind of behavior. It's always going to be a little bit inflated. But I don't think it's kind of far, I don't think it's a point at a we would call a bubble, because there is a lot of AI out there, and but people are continuing to want it more, right? It's also bringing a lot of value as well, right? It's like before you have a computer, you never know you need it, but then after you have one, you wanted more of it. Before you have an iPad or iPhone, you don't know you need it, but then once you use it, you just can't put it down, right? So it's one of those things that, like, there are still a lot of people out there who probably have not really, I mean, they know about it, but they haven't really made a big use of it, right? And I think there's still tremendous value to be unlocked just for that, for those, the majority of the population. Right? I think that there's a small, I would say, as you said, right, there's a small fraction of user, right, and They are using it heavily. So so there's a lot more out there, a lot more demand for this technology out there. So in that respect, I don't think it's a bubble per se. It's definitely just that there is just still unmet demand out there who's driving the need. So
Well,
All right.
yeah.
You had a lot when you suggested the rather large number of possible topics. The one that, of course, got to me, given how right-brained I am, was when you said that apparently Anthropic's finding, I guess, Claude to be introspective and self-reflexive, which is mildly frightening since I use it all the time. And literally, I find it sort of annoying, actually. But I actually really like Claude, and I actually have a human interaction feeling with it. And to Rob Pinkerton's point, I do yell at it because it guides me down the wrong path a lot. But first of all, I'm just curious, just from a sheerly factual standpoint, how are they deciding that what's being said by Claude is introspective and self-reflexive? Like, what evidence is there of that? And secondly, to your point, is what does that actually mean? Potentially mean, at least.
Yeah. So maybe first, just to define a little bit of what they mean by this introspective capability, right? I mean, I think this is so what they really mean by that is like these AIs able to, I would say, be aware of their kind of internal state, right? So there are some internal operations of these AI, a lot of, I would say, algorithms or these sophisticated neural network algorithms, they're not able to kind of inspect what's going on inside, its operation. Okay. So the ability to kind of know its internal state and kind of be able to describe it or verbalize it, is what they mean by kind of this introspection capability, right? So of course, like there's always the danger of like AI mimicking how people describe, like we are certainly self-aware, right? We're conscious, we're sentient, right? So we have written a lot about it, right? So there's always a danger of AI just mimicking kind of how we describe that we are, because it has read everything that we've written, right? So
right.
And this is actually why, like I think back in the day when Google had this model called Lambda, there's a researcher said, oh, it's sentient, right? It's not. It's mimicking how people talk about sentient, right? So that's what the danger of these type of claim, right? But what Anthropic did does actually make them, I would make like a scientist like me, believe it, is that they actually do a control experiment. Okay, so basically, they were able to kind of, from outside, we as a scientist, right, we can actually observe how the neural network are activated when they're actually thinking about certain topics, certain concepts. Okay, so we can actually, and then we can actually artificially inject those concepts, when the neural network is actually, when the AI is actually doing some task that's completely unrelated. Okay, so when it's actually, say, when you ask it to, I don't know, write some code to solve some math problem, and then I inject a concept about, say, fish or something like that, or bread or elephant, something like that, right? And you can ask them like, are you aware of anything different? I mean, what is it? And then sometimes it's not very reliable, and sometimes it's able to correctly identify that, seems like something about fish, something about elephant, or so it's able to be aware of the fact that someone has injected some concept, which is the internal state, that it has no relation to what it's actually doing, right? It's completely artificial, but it's able to aware of its internal state, even though it's artificially kind of injected, right?
Well,
so that control experiment,
there's something specific. So I know that when I'm interacting with Claude, and it has it's also, and I discussed this actually yesterday on the happy hour, but it's lazy. It's actually a very lazy AI, and it tends to look at things relatively as opposed to absolutely too, in a bad way. Meaning, if I say I need to know how to do this, like I'm doing it automation stuff, and some of this is fairly complex. And I say, okay, well, I need to know how to integrate this, and this, and I'm going to need because I'm using this and this. What do I do? And it'll come back with an answer. Say, well, effectively, well, there should be a menu setting called, this or this or this, one of those three, blah 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 blah, and then it'll go on and so on. And I say, look, I'm not looking for a generic answer. I'm looking for a specific answer based on this specific application. Don't be lazy, right? Because you're just giving me things you think might be there based on what you know. And that's not what I asked. And it always responds, you're right, I should have, which is actually fake self-reflection, right? I mean, I should have given you that because that is what you asked. But, it also, because the other thing with self-reflection is it does rely on, and also introspection, it relies on memory, right? I mean, it's basically, okay, this happened, shouldn't have, or, but it's relying on memory. And the other thing I've noticed it's look, none of these are fully formed human minds, so I get it, right? But like, for example, with Claude, because there's limitations on, with Claude Pro, there's limitations on time, on token use, and so on and so forth. But you can tell it, look, go look at and it'll say you have to open a new chat, and then you can say, go look at the chat titled this, and read it, and then we'll continue. And then what will happen again is it'll come back and you'll continue the conversation. But in the course of it, you'll get the answers you had before, right? Similar answers that you already refuted. And you say, we already refuted that, which meant you skimmed it. You didn't read the whole thing from end to end. So it's doing those things. Being lazy, the more I thought about it, is that's actually fairly extraordinary at a certain level, that it can be lazy. Right? It's not good, but it's extraordinary because it's mimicking a human trait. And it's not thinking, oh, I'm mimicking a human trait, but it is. So how do you, because needless to say, it's not a good thing, but how does that play into this kind of introspection, self-reflection side too?
Yeah. So I think that's different. I think that's purely, I would say, limitation of probably the context links. It's probably because every language model or reasoning model, right? It has a fixed working memory. That's essentially the context link, right? So it's trying to basically read all the stuff that you gave it, right? All the stuff, and then trying to fit all those things in context, and maybe deliberately ignoring something that may not be relevant to you, right? So it knows its kind of limitation, right? So if okay, let's just give an example, right? If your context link is like, I don't know, 10,000 words or something like that, which is very small, right, for today. But your previous chat was 20,000 words, right? It's gotta selectively ignore something, right? And if those happen to be what you needed to, you could say that it didn't read it, but how is it? You only have a memory of 10,000 words. How are you going to make it read and remember everything?
Right.
You have to remember something that's important to what you're doing, and it's actually making those judgments, right? And think, okay, these might be important to what you do, so I'm going to ignore something. So I'm going to fit all these things in my 10,000 word working memory, and then use those to try to solve your problem right now, to answer your question right now, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's a context link constraint.
That's basically a constraint, is what it is.
Yes,
really.
Yeah. So these type of introspection is more of an awareness of the internal state, right? So it's truly kind of, you can actually, when it's actually thinking about something, or some idea has been injected artificially, it's able to be aware of that and be able to articulate, right? So the previous, I would say, methods haven't able to recover that because they weren't able to do this control experiment, like injecting something, right? So it's all there. That's why there's always that danger, AI just mimicking how people talk about their introspection and make you feel like it's actually, introspective, but it may not, right? But here it's actually, I'm able to inject any concept, right, artificially. And then while I'm asking it to do some task that's completely unrelated, right? And I and then afterward I asked him, did you notice something different? What are you thinking? Like it's able to correctly identify the concept that was injected. Right?
Oh, you know
So
what? I'm literally going to try that tonight.
Yeah. So I mean, it's hard for you to do it because you have to do the concept injection by telling it, right? But by telling it, you already are priming it to think that way, right? The people on top have the backend, they actually go into a neural network and artificially activate those neural network patterns that represent those concepts, right? So they're doing it as a kind of, I don't know, like a think of it as a God mode, right? Kind of say, okay, I'm going to inject this thing in your brain, right? But without actually telling you about it. But if you tell it, then it's going to know.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
So that's hard for us to do this experiment. But people who actually have access to the neural network on the back end, right? They could do those experiments like very easily. So that's what makes this kind of introspective kind of capability more kind of valid, right? I mean, but they also did say that it's actually not very reliable. Sometimes they do. I mean, it's significant, statistically significant that they do identify, these accurate, idea that was injected, but not all the time. Sometimes it was I didn't notice any difference, but yeah. So but the fact that it's statistically significant is actually something, right? And what they find, that's another thing that's really interesting, right? The more capable the model is, the more introspective power it has, right? So it means that this is probably some emergent behavior that's actually not programmed. It's just something that as you scale up the neural network, it's it's actually gaining these capabilities.
Right. I was about to say it's creating its own capability that one you didn't give it.
Yeah.
Wow. That is frightening.
So I wanted to jump in. I was checking out the NVIDIA call yesterday, and I took the transcript recording and ran it through Gemini, because one of the things that Jensen mentioned was he outlined 3 massive platform shifts that the world is undergoing simultaneously. And he noted that it's the first time since the dawn of Moore's law that 3 such transformations were happening at once. One was the transition to accelerated computing. The second one is the transition to generative AI. And the third one is the transition to agentic and physical AI. Mm-hmm. All these things going on simultaneously. First of all, do you agree with him on that? And how do you see if that's true? If these 3 things are going, because we were just talking about generative like last year, and it just the conversation seemed to get completely taken over by the transition to agentic, and now they're already talking about the physical AI. So but generative is still transitioning. It's not like it's gone away. So how do you view it? Are you seeing it the same way he is? Like these are all taking place at the same time?
I think what he described is real. There's no doubt about it. I think this is actually partly kind of why people think this is a bubble, right? Because these frontier model, these infrastructure, AI infrastructure, providers, and so they're going so fast, right? They almost kind of ignore the rest of the world, right? They actually, and to some extent, I think there's a reason for that, right? And the reason is because there's this AI arms race, right? I mean, between countries and also between companies as well, right? Everybody's trying to get to AGI, right? So and that arms race basically trumps everything, right? If other industry can leverage this for their benefit, great. But if they can't, doesn't matter. That's not my goal. My goal is to win the AI race first, right? So it's one of those. So if you take a look at it from geopolitically standpoint, right? It's a little sensitive, but I want to say that if you let's roll the time back a little bit. If you look at it in say, I don't know, atomic bomb, right? Right. Basically, the idea is if we have to win the race to get the atomic bomb first, right? There are a lot of negative side effects, right? Radiation, whatever. It's like, but we cannot worry about those now, because if the Germans, right, invent the atomic bomb first, we are going to have all those negative side effects, right? Because there will be atomic bombs. They're going to invent it, right? We're going to have all those negative side effects of atomic bomb, plus maybe a Nazi government around the world. That's worse than, okay, we get there first, right? At least, there are a lot of negative side effects. You're going to have those side effects either way. The negative side effect will be there. It's either going to be this negative side effect plus us, right? Democracy plus, or the negative side effect plus a Nazi government. So those are the two options for you, right? When you have an AI arms race, it's similar, right? There are lots of negative side effects, right? So, but let's win the race first, right? And then we can actually deal with the side effects, later on, right? So I think that's the mentality that there's so much money being pumped into there, right? Is because I think there's this arms race. We need to just win first, right? Whether the industry can follow or not, or benefit from it or not, right? It's secondary, right? If they can benefit, great, if they cannot, right? That's we deal with that later. We deal with that later. Let's get to AGI first, right, and win, right? So I think that's why there's a lot of these. I would say the economy almost doesn't make sense, right? Because it's not a typical kind of free market economy. It's almost like a wartime economy right now, because you have this arms race, right? I mean, a lot of things in wartime just doesn't make sense. It's not a free economy. You would just dump a lot of money in there just to win the war, right? Not because it's a normal kind of free economy. So
that's interesting.
Well, that was
is there a bubble at the end of that though? Like, was there? Because I don't know what happened after the Cold War happened. I guess
right. Well, in World War II, there was no bubble. The New Deal actually created jobs, a lot, like millions. And the net effect was 1946, really, after the war ended, and the new, all the decentralized control. It was actually a boom. It wasn't a bust. And it was the baby, the baby boomers were born, the generation coming back from the war, because all those jobs have been created and the economy had been geared up that way, it kept going, right? But it became peacetime. And so ultimately it was a boom after that. The bubbles were considerably later.
But there was also, Russia got the bomb, and that them getting the bomb and us having the bomb created this, okay, well, if you don't do anything, we won't do anything. And the Cold War broke out.
Destruction.
Yeah. Mutual destruction.
Sure, mutual
destruction.
Are we looking at something? I mean, not exactly like that, but because there's more than one or two actors here. I mean, we were talking about countries, superpowers. Now we're talking about individual companies, maybe working with a government, but with that same premise in mind. So how do you think this all turns out? Because is there an Oppenheimer around? I mean, I don't know how all this turns out, but it's a really fascinating. I'm glad you brought that analogy out, because I can see that, but I don't know what the end game is for AI versus what it was for atomic.
Well, I mean, okay, so let's hypothetically, right? I mean, this hasn't happened, right? But I mean, one good outcome is like, okay, let's just say we win the AI arms race, right, against, say, China, or probably they're the only contender now, right? So and basically we could just say, okay, let's just agree to sign some kind of AI regulation, world kind of enforcement to restrict, I don't know, AI weaponry, AI targeted, or whatever, right? Something that if you win that war, right, you earn the right to kind of say, you either do it or I just collapse the economy.
Right. I mean, it's an implicit. The power that's implicit threat.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? I mean, it's if there's any, I mean, I don't know what that would be, right? I mean, obviously we all know that we need some kind of regulation for AI. This cannot go unchecked, right? But so maybe the way to, but it's also very hard to kind of have, a world kind of, I don't know, agency that regulate or govern this, right? So I mean, why would another country agree to do that with you, right? I mean, it doesn't come by, unless you basically say you win this race to AGI, right?
Think of it this way, though. In this course of that, I mean, historically, that never works because League of Nations, United Nations, the Hague Court, nobody pays attention to them. Never did, any of them.
Only if the superpowers give it.
Well, but it depends on the superpowers literally sending armed force.
Exactly.
Right. So, and it's ultimately, which is, it's sad because reason doesn't govern geopolitics all that much, but occasionally it does, but not usually. If we look, let's say this: the only time it probably governed geopolitics is if the Earth got invaded by aliens. And then the odds are pretty good we'd all band together to stop the alien threat.
Well, you never
beyond
know.
that, well, who knows? I mean, somebody would make a deal with them, but who knows? But that said, it's all a matter of implicit threat. So to your point, Michael, let's just say the U.S. won the AI war. It's the threat of we will. It's not even explicit necessarily. It's the threat that they could screw up your economy, or they could do this. They could. It's the same thing when you got. Cybersecurity. Just think of cybersecurity, man. I mean, the whole what you can do with that alone. So
exactly. So there's a lot of things, right? I mean, if you win the AI arms race, you get the AGI first, right? You could just say, okay, you either do this or I'll just like collapse your regime, right? I mean, that's what China most afraid of, right? I'll just break your great firewall in China, and just infuse it with all free information, like everybody could, and you just collapse your regime, right? So what are you going to do? I mean, so it's like, so you almost kind of, if there's any kind of, I would say, good, right, that could come out of this arms race, right, or someone, if we win, right, then we can actually create some kind of a treaty or some kind of agreement, right, among the world, right, to kind of, for whatever, right. I mean, I think that's whatever we think is actually good, right, for a safe and AI development in the future, right? For not just us, but for everybody, for our planet, for our children, our future generations as well, right? So, but if we don't win that first, right? Then, we're gonna have all the negative side effects of AGI, right? Plus a totalitarian government, right?
Yeah. And eventually, if AGI becomes real, then AGI wins the war, right? It's like not us, not any country. Wow. AGI itself will win it. Well, you may think you want it, but we want it. I'm AGI.
What a way to
Skynet
end this.
Skynet wins.
This taking the lid off or lifting the lid off, or I don't know what the hell to do.
Lifting.
Lifting. Semantically, they both mean the same thing.
That's what I know,
but there was a name. We had a name, and lifting the lid's more poetic.
Whatever we call it, this has been one hell of a conversation. Yes, this has been awesome, and once again, thanks to Michael Wu for joining us every third Thursday. I mean, this is what, the third one of these, and it gets better with every segment we do.
More come. By the way, we've I didn't tell Brent this yet, but we've reconstituted the Players in Residence program, and you and Bob Stutz are the two Players in Residence officially. Congratulations. There are some benefits, although we don't know what they are yet.
I say, what are the benefits?
We don't know what they are yet, but there are some. Look, everybody who has ever been a player in residence ends up with a really great job. I can tell you that. Now, you have one, but even so, and Bob Stutz is kind of retired, but who knows? Board positions, we'll see. It always works. Every time.
I'm looking forward to it.
After this conversation, I want to go watch Dr. Strangelove. For some reason, that just makes me
one more time.
With my boy Clem, what's his name? Slim Pickens.
Slim Pickens
riding that bomb all the way down with the cowboy hat.
Yahoo!
We need to get him a nicer lid, though. I think Michael will make sure you get a nice lid. Anyway, on behalf of Dr. Michael Wu, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz. Thanksgiving is next Thursday, so we won't be around for that. But the week after that, what is CRM in 2026? We will be posting who will be involved, all the stuff that's going on. But just know, December 4th and 5th, it's an extravaganza. Or is it an extravaganza?
Either one.
Either one. But I know one thing. This is Mini. When you see Mini, that means we're out. So have a great week. See ya.